This kid wore blackface in 2023 in public to a Chiefs game, and people are rightfully pissed about it.
Why was there blackface on, a Native American? That's
Why
what
not?
I was wondering.
If you're going to throw the headdress on, it.
And no, here's what I'm thinking, because it should have been red face, right? Like, if we're going to be racist, we got to be accurately racist.
If you're going to be racist, at least be accurate. That would be a good point. The only problem is he wasn't in blackface. I think the better motto would be, if you're going to try to ruin a 12-year-old's life for wearing face paint and slander him by calling him racist, at least be accurate.
And we have this article here from Deadspin, and this went all around on Twitter, reading that it says, the NFL needs to speak out against a Kansas City Chiefs fan in blackface and a native headdress. And if you notice, this Kansas City Chiefs fan, quote unquote, that they're not just demanding the Chiefs organization, but the NFL, right? One of America's largest corporations, to single out and condemn, as you can kind of tell by this picture here, is a 12-year-old boy. Okay? So, like, next levels of disgusting here. That's where we're going with this. And you may look at this and think to yourself, well, it does look like blackface, Vince. I mean, what is that? Well, you actually go look, right? You notice on the screen here how they took a picture from that side angle here. When you look at the whole picture, and Deadspin, shame on you. I mean, frankly, Deadspin should be sued, at the very least be forced to retract this article, because you look here, it's not actually blackface, right? The kid has his face, half of it is black, half of it is red. Guess what? He's, cosplaying as a Native American. Partially, those are the Chiefs' colors, right? One of their colors is red, and the black, I guess, probably just some type of, native thing here. But long story short, they are trying to slander this kid and basically ruin his entire life because, and by the way, I don't think this kid did anything wrong. This kid is a hero. This is awesome. And, this is what our parents used to do, right? Dressing up as an Indian, it used to be a normal thing. And then we suddenly decided it was somehow offensive or not allowed to be done. But reading from this article here, Deadspin News writes, it takes a lot to disrespect two groups of people at once. But on Sunday afternoon in Las Vegas, a Kansas City Chiefs fan found a way to hate black people and Native Americans at the same time. Again, folks, this is a 12-year-old boy who was dressed up as a Kansas City Chiefs, fan, as the mascot or whatever you want to say. And any amount of really research and just looking around on Twitter, forget the term research, I hate that term. Looking around and browsing Twitter would show you that, hey, the kid actually, he was not wearing blackface. It was red and black, right? It was a type of paint. Blackface specifically is when you are trying to impersonate a black person, right? If you just painting something black on your face is not blackface, if that's not the intent there, right? But anyways, they say it was as if John Gruden's emails had come to life. If you don't know John Gruden, he said some things in emails one time. The image of a Chiefs fan in blackface wearing a native headdress during a road game leads to so many unanswered questions. Why did the camera person give this fan the attention? Well, maybe because, he's a little kid, right? That's kind of a thing when you're covering sports. You show the little kid who's excited or super into the game, right? It's endearing, whatever. Why did the producer allow that camera angle to be aired at all? Is that fan a teenager or young adult? I mean, long story short, you basically get the idea here. They want the NFL to completely ruin a 12-year-old boy's life because he dressed up in a costume that, you can debate. Right. In my opinion, there's absolutely nothing wrong with. And we'll talk about why I believe that and why I'm sure Ryan believes that here in a second. But even if that were not the case, it's his parents who allowed him to do that. Right. Again, this is a 12-year-old boy and they're trying to ruin his entire life. But anyways, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, talking about why the cameraman even allowed that, the producer of CBS, I think it was, airing that game, even allowed that to do. Maybe they wanted to create this agenda. Maybe they wanted to write this narrative.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the what CBS's political views look like, but it's really sad and disgusting that this is what we've gotten to. Completely taking something out of context, not showing even the other side of his face
for a little kid too. It's not even
like I can't imagine that little kid had malicious intent
or his parents.
His parents.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to the Kansas City Chiefs, which is a Native American team, the Chiefs.
Which is a mascot they've been trying to, cancel too.
Yeah. They got the Cleveland Indians. Now they're the Guardians, but they're trying to get the Chiefs and they're trying to get the Seminoles. And, I don't know what they're trying to do with this. I don't understand why anyone would do this. It's disgusting that they would come after this kid.
And let me say this too. I mean, this is, I guess, the more kind of controversial, quote unquote, part of the conversation. There is, unless you're trying to do it to specifically inflame or like insult, which in the vast majority of cases is not true, I don't think there is anything wrong with quote unquote dressing up in a costume from a different culture, right? The first of all, the Kansas City Chiefs mascot, like what actually is wrong with saying the mascot is the Chiefs, right? It's kind of a part of an American culture, part of American history, the natives, the Indians, and it's actually totally incoherent because on one side they say you're erasing Native American history, Eurocentric and all that. And then when quote unquote Eurocentric American culture gives them a concession and says, hey, well, we're going to celebrate your culture, i.e. the mascot of a team, right? And it's not particularly like the native mascots in a lot of these sports are portrayed negatively. Like, the Seminoles, for instance, they're tough, right? It's like a fierce thing. Same thing with the Chiefs. They're trying to portray in a positive way, as like warriors and, as it's a cool mascot. But they say like that's not allowed, which is incoherent. And then they say, okay, you cannot dress up in a costume from a different culture. Well, then how does that make any sense? What even is cultural appropriation? It's totally incoherent, right?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. They did it with the Washington Redskins a few years back that are now, I think, the Commanders.
Yeah.
And
Caucasians.
Yeah, Caucasians. But, you had Native American tribes coming out and saying, we like the name. We see it with honor. They represent it with pride. Right. You saw tribes come out and say that. They wanted a big petition earlier this year to bring the name back.
Really?
And, yeah. Now, they completely rolled it out. They have new owners and they don't want it. But I don't see what's wrong with it as long as you're not doing it with bad intent. If you're not making fun of the Native American tribes or trying to make them look bad, if you're respecting them and honoring them, there's nothing wrong with that, I feel.
Given that they are safe, stable, and relatively inflation-proof, precious metals have always been an important part of any diversified investment portfolio. Many of you already know that. World governments certainly know that, which is why countries over in Asia are currently buying massive amounts of gold and silver as we speak. And for those of you who do not yet know that, let me tell you, it has never been a better time to start investing in gold and silver. And our friends today at Noble Gold Investments can help you do so. Noble Gold has been helping customers like you ensure their financial security and future for years now, and have worked hard to build customer trust, countless 5-star reviews, and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So do not wait. Be sure to go check out my affiliate link at VinceDaoGold.com. Again, that is VinceDaoGold.com, or dial the number 877-646-5347. Again, that is 877-646-5347. Talk to a real representative for free, just to find out if investing in gold and silver works for you. If you are the least bit curious, they are big supporters of this show, and you can support us by supporting Noble Gold at VinceDaoGold.com. To add the level of the incoherence, Ryan, I know you're a Notre Dame fan. Yeah. Let's bring up that example, actually. So you have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who, and if people are unfamiliar, it's a college team or, university, very big in, football and all that. And their mascot, I would argue in some ways, arguably maybe is a little bit quote unquote insulting, right? It's a leprechaun. That literally the mascot is a leprechaun, they're the Fighting Irish, apparently. The argument that would be made is, well, it's different because Native Americans were historically oppressed and this and that, blah, 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 blah. Whereas, that's not true of the Irish. But it's like when you look at, okay, first of all, American history, Irish historically, they dealt with discrimination, all that too. But even you want to look at like the origins of Ireland as a country, right? Colonialism, the British, right? They wanted to take it over. That's gone back for a very long time. So there's literally no difference Other than perhaps the Fighting Irish mascot is actually a little bit worse, quote unquote, in terms of the level of offensiveness or the origins or the history of the group or whatever. Other than, and this is what it really gets down to, right? The Irish one is white, so it's okay. That's really what it's about.
Well, no, exactly. I mean, listen, I'm part Irish. I take zero offense in the Notre Dame mascot. I grew up a Notre Dame fan. I find the mascot awesome.
Yeah.
I take no offense to it.
Right.
Now, maybe you could pull it up sometime. Max Kellerman at ESPN a couple years back hounded the mascot of Notre Dame, saying it was offensive and that it should be removed.
Well, at least one person was consistent about it.
At least
he
was consistent about it. He said he has Irish friends that are offended by it. Now, I mean, I don't think any real Irish person would ever be offended of the Notre Dame mascot. But, it's the double standard.
Right.
You got people complaining about a Native American mascot, Native American, but the Irish have been extremely oppressed also throughout history, with Britain, and even when Irish immigrants came over here to America.
Yeah.
They were not treated very right. Now, not as bad as the Native Americans, but they weren't treated well.
Right.
And yet no one's complaining about that. No one wants the Notre Dame mascot removed, and I don't want it removed, but no one's talking about it.
Right. And, the phrase, my culture is not your costume, that's a big part of culture.
Yeah.
It's the food, it's what you wear, it's your customs, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what does that even mean? My culture is not your costume.
Well, and for people that hound on cultural appropriation, where do you draw I'd like to know where exactly the line is drawn. Because it's can I not go to a restaurant that serves anything else but my culture's food?
Yeah.
Can I not go to a Mexican restaurant? Can I not go to an Asian restaurant? Because if I eat that food, it's cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Or is the line just drawn at clothes? Is it drawn at holidays, drawn at practices? What is it drawn at?
Right.
That's what I'd like to know.
I think what it ultimately comes down to, they veil it in a lot of different things: cultural appropriation, racism, oppression, whatever. Let's be real. It's really just a humiliation ritual greater in the culture that they want to get rid of everything that's good or traditional or that, people enjoy. Right. And so obviously, that's stuff like getting rid of mascots, canceling movies, getting rid of this, getting rid of that, taking the flag down here, even like the climate change agenda, right? You cannot tell me that what the electric vehicle thing really is about and getting rid of, cool cars and all that, trucks, sports cars, muscle cars. It's a humiliation ritual because they want to degrade you. They want to take away things that are fun, that are enjoyable, that kind of make you just feel good and that historically you've had access to. And they want to just kind of force you to submit to that. And, like I said, it's just one big humiliation ritual. So we got to apologize for this, remove that, until you have a culture in this country that is unrecognizable, that has, is totally devoid of the traditions and the customs and just the everything of the past. And I think that's really what this is about, Yeah,
it's to me, it's like guns. This argument's like guns.
That too, right? Guns.
The more they take,
guns are cool, right?
Yeah.
I get it. There's other reasons they want to get rid of it. Government, tyranny, all that. I know all the generic arguments, but one of the biggest arguments I make about guns is literally that they want to get rid of them because they're cool. Because it's cool to have a gun, right? It's kind of a masculine thing to have a gun. That's why when I'm talking with gun control people, especially considering it's been years, we've made all the same arguments about, safe, gun-free zones and all that and how they don't work. Fundamentally, if you are scared of guns, you are just a expletive, right? That's all it comes down to. But, that's part of why they want to get rid of it. Because cool things scare them, guns scare them, loud engines scare them, football, a physical kind of masculine sport scares them, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think also a big part of it is liberals are so damn miserable.
Yeah.
That they hate seeing
and they project their misery.
Yeah, they hate seeing people have fun. I go to a football game and, there's people concealed carrying in the stadium and they see people having a good time at this football game with a Native American mascot and they just want to take all that away. I drove in my truck.
Right.
Had a good time. We tailgated.
Right.
And they want to take it all away because I'm having a good time. They're so damn miserable.
It's just like those articles. I covered this on the channel before Thanksgiving where they had that article in The Nation just talking about how written by quote unquote Native Americans saying, well, America shouldn't celebrate Thanksgiving because of the history of colonialism and but like I said, like that's not, you're right. That's not what it's about. They just want to project their misery. Thanksgiving is a day that Americans traditionally enjoy. It's about family. It's about being social in a way. I think a lot of these people are like antisocial freaks in some regards. And so they kind of just hate everything about the holiday, you know, same thing about Christmas, because it's a day where people are happy. It's a day where people are having fun, and leftists are like miserable souls, literally devoid of that. So
absolutely. And I view the whole cultural, like cancel culture off of cultural appropriation and other holidays that like Thanksgiving that they want to cancel.
Right.
It's like guns. Like once they get one thing, they're gonna keep going. They're not gonna stop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they come get the mascot. Now what's next? What are they taking after that? But like Columbus Day.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus Day wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
They want Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
They want Christmas. They want to take it all away.
Right.
I mean, you know, Columbus. I'm part Italian. Columbus Day was the one holiday Italians had. It was given to them. The holiday was created.
Yeah.
Back in like I think 1918 because Italians were kind of discriminated against. They wanted to give them a holiday to make them feel welcomed.
Yeah.
And they took that away. So is that like discriminating against Italians? But that's okay.
It is.
White.
It is anti-Italian discrimination.
Anti-Italian
is the
discrimination.
greatest form of discrimination in America,
like
you know?
their only damn holiday.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.